Ladies and gents, I think it's about time we looked at the Shadow Priest. Many of you have asked, I have waited and delayed, I've waited for some bugs to be worked out, but we played it again today. The bugs are still there. There's a bit of a shadowy insight, or divine insight, as you'll know it in Mr. Pandaria. This gives you the instant cast Mind Blast. A little bit of a bug there, as it doesn't seem to go away, and you can spam Mind Blast endlessly. So that will account for some odd things you see, such as not keeping dots up, etc. It's a bug, there's nothing I can do about it. It exists, it's a thing, it's the way it's going down, and that's alright. So the few things that I've said in passing about the Shadow Priest is that it plays pretty much the same as Mr. Pandaria. And it does! The Shadow Priest plays pretty much exactly the same. The big change that you will all feel is the change to Shadow Orbs. 5 Shadow Orbs we have now. It still uses 3 for Devouring Plague. That means that we can now be choosy with our Devouring Plague instead of like getting rid of it. Like, oh, I've got 3 orbs, I gotta get rid of them because I'm about to Shadow her death. My Mind Blast is coming back off cooldown. If I don't get rid of this Devouring Plague, then I'm going to be wasting orbs, and nobody likes wasting resources. Wasted resources, wasted DPS. So now they've given us 5. I wish this was baseline, but it is a Draenor perk. You're going to pick it up while you're leveling. Not much we can do about that. That's the way they've decided to implement it. But it is wonderful. It's an absolutely godly change, and it makes the class a lot more fun. Flexibility, freedom, always nice. You can now line up 2 back-to-back Devouring Plays if you've got sudden bursts to do. Get 5 in the bank, fire off one Mind Blast, another one going on top, and all that kind of stuff. Super cool and nice always to put out on ads as well. So that's the big change you're going to feel. The one thing I wanted to bring you on this quick look is a little discussion on the level 100 talents. I find them to be a little bit odd. So part of me actually thinks they're just flat out lazy in some respects. We've got, first of all, let's talk about WoD Entropy. WoD Entropy is one of your level 100 talents, which is an extra dot that also uses 3 Shadow Orbs. Yeah. Another dot that also uses 3 Shadow Orbs. Now, this dot does last 60 seconds, so you got it on for a full minute, so it's like a 4th dot that you'll be adding to the target. It does what it does, it goes and does its damage, but, yeah. I can't help but feel, okay, another dot. Uses 3 Shadow Orbs, it's the same resource. If it would have used 5... that would have been a little bit more interesting. If it would have been a little bit different to Devouring Plague rather than just duration difference, I kind of would have been more interested in it. But obviously we'll be aiming for 100% uptime. I've played with it a little bit, didn't particularly like it. Certainly as I'm doing 5-man content for you guys, very rarely can I keep something up for a minute unless it's a boss. So as a standard talent to take, not the best in the world. The next one is the Auspicious Spirits. This one alters your nice shadowy apparitions to in fact give you a Shadow Orb instead of dealing damage. You will know your spirits go off on their merry way. They find a target and they smash into it face first, and they give you some nice damage for doing that. Now, they will give you Shadow Orbs. It's one of those things that I felt as I was using it, and I'm using it in the footage I'm showing you now, is it's a change that didn't need to change. I was quite happy with how my shadowy apparitions worked. In fact, I just considered it to be passive damage that had a very cool visual effect to it. Also, now with having 5 Shadow Orbs, the predictability and reliability of Shadow Orb generation is actually really nice for the reasons I discussed earlier, is that you can be more predictive with them. Now that your shadowy apparitions are actually involved in that generation of Shadow Orbs, RNG becomes a factor again, and we also end up with this possibility of wasted resources once again. I'm not sure if it was a change that was needed, but perhaps some of you will be okay with that. You will obviously get out more Shadow Orb related abilities, which obviously you won't have WoD Entropy, but your Devouring Plague, etc. will always be able to use more often, but you have no control over it. You have no control over it. Your shadow apparitions will go and do their thing, and that's about it. Just as they always did. Just as they always did. And finally, a clarity. This dotless. It's being called the dotless Shadow Priest. Now, that's not entirely true. This ability now provides you with bonus damage to Mind Spike, Mind Seer, and Shadow Word Death on targets that are not affected by dots. It also makes your Mind Blast instant cast and reduces its cooldown by 3 seconds. Now, this isn't dotless, because your main target will still have dots on. What this is an ad kill spec. This is like an entire spec dedicated to kicking the shit out of lots of little ads as they proceed through the fight. So you kind of think to the back of your mind, as looking at the other talents we've looked at for other classes, is that, oh, this makes sense because if the boss needs this, then we could do that. My only issue with this is we already had Mind Spike. Mind Spike already existed in a form and a fashion. I didn't think at any point did the Shadow Priest need a different way of dealing with low health ads where dots will be ineffective. I never considered that to be part of the plan. Now, it's entirely possible when the DPS numbers come out that this is, in fact, a dotless DPS spec. If it turns out that spamming Mind Spike, Mind Blast, Mind Spike, Mind Spike, Mind Spike, Mind Blast, Mind Spike, Mind Spike, Mind Blast is the more effective way of doing DPS, then this is a dotless Shadow Priest spec. And I'm not aware that anybody actually asked for that. And that also bothers me a great deal. I can't think of anybody who rolled a Shadow Priest and was like, oh my god, what is this? Dots? This is crazy, right? I don't need this stuff. Very unusual, very interesting, but I'll let you guys decide on what you think of that. So far, it's playing fine. If you like it in mod, you're going to like it... Mop. Mod, I've merged the two already. If you like it in mop, you're going to like it in WoD. And that's all I have to say on that. Other than that, we'll wait and see how the damage works out. Is our single target DPS garbage? I don't know yet. We'll find out. All right, guys, there's a little quick look at the Shadow Priest for you. I'll see you later. Bye.